Okay, I'm going to ask you about the NPA issue and what the changes in the 525 are going to mean. But Vaibhav, let me get you in here. When you talk about the banking, public sector banking space, you're talking about big capital requirements. And as Mr. Narendra was saying, this is going to be the first step in many steps to get capitalization in for these banks. From a market standpoint, do you think the up move that we are seeing in a Bank of Baroda, SBI, PNB is justified basis this first tranche?
We have to look at each of these banks separately. At least in case of Bank of Baroda, the move that we've seen today, virtually takes the bank's valuation above price to book. Sure, the bank already in fact had a decent tier 1 capital adequacy of 9.5% even before this capital infusion. The same with SBI as well, and both these banks will now get more capital which can be used for growth as well, and to an extent to probably clean up the balance sheet. So the capital infusion is positive, but valuation for Bank of Baroda, in terms of the premium it is trading to the other PSU banks, in our view it's more than capturing in all the positives. The bigger questions are the NPA problems over? In our view they are not yet over because the borrowers are still in stress. And secondly, can a bank like Bank of Baroda, is there visibility for its return on equity to go to 15% anytime soon? And till it really reaches that kind of return on equity, valuation above book is a little hard to justify.
That's an interesting point of view, Vaibhav. I'm going to ask Mr. Narendra about the NPA piece. You were talking to me and saying that out of the list of PSUs, NPA is anywhere between 9,000 crores and 50,000 crores. That's the range that you're looking at. This is a serious balance sheet problem for these banks. How do you think it's going to be addressed? And do you think that the banking secretary is right when he says a 525 scheme needs to be relooked? And the recommendations that he's made, do you think it will help the NPA issue?
Yeah, there are quite a lot of measures may be needed to address the NPA, existing NPA and the futuristic NPA. So particularly sector like steel, then infrastructure, then as far as the DISCOM, the power sector, and whether other sectors like which are affected. Of course, the construction sector is slightly improving. So these are to be addressed individually, not only from the banker's point of view, from the other point of view in terms of the import, which is becoming very much dumped here in steel. That's why some duties were imposed and all. But as far as the infrastructure sector guidelines relating to NPA, Reserve Bank has been always forward coming with quite a lot of time they have enhanced or they have relaxed, around 4 years time frame is needed, which are currently available, such accounts. But since it took longer time for the economy to revive, maybe that there may be necessity to further look at those measures.
Okay, on infra particularly, Mr. Narendra, do you think that the rules that RBI has imposed on classifying NPAs in the infrastructure sector is too stringent, as the banking secretary has pointed out, and that delays and this cost to overruns, etc.? I mean, what is your sense of it? Does it need to be relaxed further?
So, but overall, we have to be in line with the international standards. And when our, particularly today, whether it is a already declared NPA or whether it is a stressed accounts or which are in restructure, as far as the analyst or the foreign investors or Indian investor, they will look into the overall. But only to the fact that there are basic difficulties in infrastructure projects, and depending on the nature of its case, whether the Reserve Bank can look at favorably.
But for example, in India, a project with a 10% cost overrun attracts restructuring according to RBI norms. I could argue that pretty much every project is has cost overruns because of the delays on the ground. So, I mean, this would mean pretty much every infrastructure project. Does this need to be rethought particularly?
Yeah, until last financial year, there were availability of restructuring. But the restructuring per se now has gone.
Yeah.
With the special
now it's more about provisioning and making it. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Here now, only thing is immediately you are supposed to make provisioning. But the economy and the profitability bank being the case, today there may be necessity to little postpone or reduce the provisioning in the case of infrastructure.
We've seen the first tranche of certain fundamental changes that the government has made in the banking space. But one could argue that there are a lot of anomalies, especially in classification of NPAs in provisioning? And I'm going to get Mr. Narendra back on this. Do you think, as an analyst looking at banking, do you think far more steps need to be taken on and specific steps need to be taken to help banks, because this NPA issues is festering and it's probably going to grow?
Well, I mean, of course, so long as the borrowers, the sectors such as metals, etc., remain under stress, it is very difficult to see how, just changing some classification norms, etc., would, end up helping banks a lot. Clearly, it's going to take time, and for some of these sectors like metals, in fact, things have gotten worse in the last 3 to 6 months. So there is going to be pain which has to be faced by the banks as well. In the other sectors like power and infra, slowly the government steps, in whether it be in coal, etc., are going to help. If they can address the issues in the SEBs as well, that would help. So as the borrower's health improves, that is going to be the only long-term lasting solution for banks' health also to improve. In the meanwhile, these kind of smaller steps are not necessarily going to address all the concerns that investors have.
I'm going to get Mr. Narendra also, Weber, but on Discom, steel, and of course, the entire infrastructure space, should the government be looking at packages to, help banks out? Because these are the three big, verticals where the money is stuck. In the past, what is the precedence that has been there?
Well, clearly, if there is going to be, I don't think there is a lot of case for the government to keep on interfering. I mean, ultimately, it's a free market economy. So, if we go towards too many of bailouts or those things are also not looked at positively. I mean, the ultimate solution is to, see how these sectors actually improve, and what the government can do is for the domestic sectors such as power or, infra, where things are stuck because of government policies itself. I mean, as far as steel is concerned, I think the pain is external, and there are limits to what the government can do. I mean, in terms of whether it be even duties or such other things, there are pros and cons to any measure that the government can take. And ultimately, I think the writing is on the wall that as far as some of these externally facing sectors, there would be pain which has to be borne by the banks as well. And to a large extent, a lot of this pain has already been taken by PSU banks. Whether in fact the banking sector as a whole. But yeah, there is probably more pain to come in the next quarter or two, which is the reason why, in some of these stocks like Bank of Baroda, which have more than 9% exposure to metals, we are still, relatively cautious. There has been some improvement, which is getting factored in the stock price. But, there could be some more pain, at least in the next quarter or two.
Right. Of course, at the end of the day, recovery is the only thing that's going to fix the banking problem. But I am going to ask you in one last point, Mr. Narendra. Private, professionals being brought into banks, PSU banks to run it, and the hope of consolidation, both very, very tough, because you can appoint a chairman or a head, but getting the whole system aligned, especially when unions are such a big force, etc. Is it really going to work?
No, it all depends on the quality of leadership, and we have 2 people coming in the CEO cadre and a few coming under the non-executive chairman. I think that will bring a lot of energy and more of a professional approach. However, it is also necessary that within the bank, opportunity should be given for them to rise to the
3-4 people in the entire banking. I mean, that's like a drop in the ocean.
Current scenario, and the government, as per the PGNI committee, they thought it fit to get into that. But as such,
fresh energy is good. Okay, consolidation possibility?
Consolidation as such, we go forward. It may not be the right time now because the market is not good. You need to get a good fair value, intrinsic value. When the banks get the fair value, within themselves they can go for consolidation, or between the bigger bank and bigger bank.
That's also a pipe dream from the looks of it, because you've not seen that happen in the past. Weber, very quickly, top 2 picks and top 2 stocks you wouldn't touch in the PSU banking space.
Well, within the PSU banks banking space, the stock that we like currently is SBI. There we have a target of 309. Other than that, we were neutral on most of the PSU banks, and we would remain so. Probably PNB is the only other stock that is on our radar. But, like I mentioned, in the near term, there may be some more pain coming from sectors like metal. So we are still, in a wait and watch mode. Other than these two stocks, Bank of Baroda specifically, we find it to be expensive now. And for the rest of them, I think the fundamentals have not yet improved enough to really go all out positive from a fundamental point of view.
Right. Thanks so much for joining me, gentlemen, on this discussion. This is not the last we've heard of it. We'll keep our eyes focused on this sector. But we head into a short break. On the other side, market technicals with Rajat Bose. That's coming up for you.